With the Revenant season here, it is safe to say that this is definitely a stasis heavy themed season. However, just recently we were actually able to focus exotic perks on our brand new exotic class items. So today's video is about a exotic class item build for the Warlock class that involves infinite threadling grenade spam. Not only is this build extremely fun, but it excels at clearing out adds in high density add encounters. And we recently had the return of Onslaught, so this build is perfect for every Onslaught activity, whether you go into round 10 or even round 50. So I'm sure as most of you know, but there may be a few people that don't know about it, if you head over to the Pale Heart and go chat to your ghost in the Lost City, as you can see on your screen right here, you can actually focus exotic perks to increase the drop chance of that perk dropping in that certain column. Unfortunately, you can only select one perk out of the two columns, but hey, that's better than nothing. So as you can see on the screen right here, I've selected Osmiancy because that is the build that we are going for today. The absolute god roll to make this build as perfect as you can possibly get is Spirit of Osmiancy and also Spirit of Verity. Verity isn't needed, however, weapon final blows with Verity equipped will increase the damage of your grenade type when you use a matching grenade. So we're using Threadling, so anytime we get kills with a strand weapon, it's going to give us a stacking damage boost for our grenade, which is awesome. This is by far one of the strongest and funnest builds that I've played with on the Prismatic subclass so far. This build specializes in wiping the floor with any adds in any encounter in the game. Let me just quickly cover some of the best aspects of this build before you dedicate a full 8 minutes to watching this video. And if you like the sound of any of these parts in this build, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. This entire Prismatic Warlock build is built around basically spawning infinite Threadlings. We're going to be doing this by having Threadling Grenade and also Weaver's Call. So anytime we throw a grenade or use that class ability, we're going to be spawning lots and lots of Threadlings. We will also have Devour up 24/7, which will give us infinite health regeneration and also massive grenade energy back on kills. If you play your cards right and do this build exactly how I tell you to, you can get your Transcendence in a mere 20 to 30 seconds, and of course use this Transcendence to get your super in under a minute. However, if you play this build how it's meant to be played, you'll find yourself not even needing to use Transcendence or your super because you're having so much fun by spamming out infinite Threadlings. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break this build down for you. The exotic that we're going to be using is the Solipsism, the brand new exotic Warlock bond. However, the best part about this build is you only need one perk on this bond, you don't need two. That one perk is Spirit of Osmiancy. So unlike most Warlock builds on YouTube, it requires an insane amount of luck or RNG to get both perks that you need. However, this build fully revolves around just having Spirit of Osmiancy, so surely by now you've got one of them to drop. I hope anyway. Spirit of Osmiancy on the Warlock bond basically works whenever your grenades hit enemies, it's going to recharge your grenade quicker. So anytime we throw out any Threadling grenades, the more enemies it hits or kills, the more grenade energy we're going to get back. As you can see in this footage, I'm pretty much getting my full grenade back after just throwing it out once and getting a few kills. Now there is one other method that we are using to make sure we do get our full grenade back after every time we kill, and that is by using the Facet of Balance Fragment. This one states, rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. And as we all know, Threadling grenades are a darkness damage, so when we do this, it's just going to give us massive grenade energy back. Combining the Facet of Balance and Osmiancy on the Warlock bond is really what makes this build get your grenade energy back. To make this build even more potent, we're going to be running Phoenix Dive because it is the shortest cooldown class ability that the Warlock has. We're then also going to combine this with Weaver's Call so that every time we Phoenix Dive, it's going to spawn even more Threadlings. The other aspect that we're going to want to run here is Feed the Void. Defeating targets with any ability will grant us Devour. Then when we kill anything with Devour active, it's going to refresh this Devour cooldown and also give us bonus grenade energy. So by now, for some reason, if you're not getting your grenade energy back from full kills with the Threadling grenade, having Devour up as well is going to push this even more. As for the melee, I like to use Incinerator Snap just for a little bit of light damage so that we can build that Transcendence bar when we need. Because this build purely revolves around spawning massive Threadlings, we do need a little bit of light damage to build that light side of the Transcendence bar. The super is completely up to you, but I like to run Song of Flame. The gameplay loop of this build is very straightforward. What you want to do is just throw your grenade out at a group of enemies. It should kill them and give you most of your grenade energy back. If it didn't, go ahead and Phoenix Dive to spawn more Threadlings, which will then kill more enemies and then give you more chunks of your grenade energy back from getting kills with the threadlings. From here, if you still do not have your grenade energy back, using something like the call with demolitionist is definitely going to help here. Just get one kill and it should definitely give you your grenade energy back. From here on out, just keep throwing threadling grenades, phoenix diving all over the room, and killing enemies with the call with demolitionist on. The gameplay loop is very satisfying and it is very, very effective. If any of your threadlings end up don't killing enemies, it's all good. They should return to you and perch up on you in your little buff bar. So next time that you do use your phoenix dive, you should send out even more threadlings. Another major fragment that makes this build is the Facet of Hope. While you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly. As we all know, Devour counts as an elemental buff, and we will have this up 24/7. So having this up will reduce our Phoenix Dive cooldown by about half. And of course, with the use of some armor mods that I'm going to get into very shortly, we can have our class ability back pretty much instantly. So the ability to just throw out threadling grenades and use Phoenix Dive to spawn more threadlings is very easy and very fun. Now, like I said earlier, for some reason, if you're seeming to be struggling in getting that grenade energy back after each kill, you can use a weapon like the Call with Demolitionist. Or for that matter, you can use any gun with Demolitionist, and getting kills with it will decrease your grenade cooldown. This does help the build out a lot, and I have found myself using it. However, for me personally, I feel like I don't need this many grenades out there, so I've been using the Kozstov. Now, the Kozstov is the perfect weapon for any prismatic build, and with the help of some other fragments that I'm about to explain, using the Kozstov can actually make this build even better. With Facet of Grace equipped, defeating targets with kinetic weapons grants you bonus Transcendence energy. The Kozstov is obviously kinetic, so killing many enemies with this is going to grant you massive Transcendence energy. The Kozstov is just overall a great weapon, and this is a great fragment to use if you're using it. With the Facet of Sacrifice on, while you have an Arc, Solar, or Void buff, ability final blows grant bonus Transcendence energy. So with the help of this and Feed the Void on, getting grenade kills and killing enemies with the Kozstov is just going to chunk both sides of your Transcendence energy. You can see this in the footage. I'm getting my Transcendence incredibly fast. And the last fragment that I like to use is Facet of Protection, which just gives us more damage resistance when we're surrounded. Obviously, the other two fragments that we're going to be using is Facet of Hope and also Facet of Balance. I did mention this earlier in the video, but I thought I'd just remind you right now. Now, of course, let's cover some armor mods that really help this build excel. On the helmet, Special Ammo Finder and Special Ammo Scout are very, very useful here, especially if you're using the Call. I'm also running Kinetic Siphon because I like to use the Kozstov, but if you're not using this, you can swap this out for something else. Over on the Gauntlets, Firepower is very important here, because this build revolves around spamming out grenades. Getting kills with these grenades is going to create Orbs of Power, which is very useful for you and also your teammates. Bolstering Detonation grants class ability every time we cause damage with grenades, so because we're causing a lot of damage with grenades, it's going to give us that class ability back to then use Weaver's Call and spawn more threadlings. Fastball, of course, it just makes the grenade throwing easier. On the chest piece, just run whatever resistance mods you need for said activity. On the boots, double insulation here is very important. Picking up Orbs of Power is going to reduce our class ability cooldown. Very useful. Invigoration reduces our melee cooldown when we do pick up Orbs of Power. I haven't found myself actually using Incinerator Snap that often unless there's a major or a yellow bar. And finally, on the class item, Bomber and Outreach are very good here. It just reduces cooldown of our abilities. And Powerful Attraction is also great here. Because we're going to be Phoenix diving around the map a lot to spawn more threadlings, having the automatic pickup on Orbs of Power when we're near them is very, very helpful. This build is extremely fun for all of that medium range content where it's not too hard. Around that 2000 light where there's plenty of ads, this build will definitely excel. When you start pushing further into the Grandmaster Nightfall or, contest raids, this build will probably have a downfall, but that is where you'd run your getaway artists. I've been running this build quite a lot in the Dual Destiny mission, and it makes all of these ads a complete joke. Like I said earlier in the video, one of the main takeaways of this build is that all you need is one exotic perk on the class item, the Osmiancy. Of course, down in the description below, I will leave a dim link to this build so that you can copy and paste it for yourself. But anyway, guys, that will wrap the build up there. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, or you feel like you learned something, or you're going to try this build out, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment down below, and all that other fun stuff. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.